Alright boys, our paychecks just came in. When people think of revolutions in France, they usually think of that revolution. You know, the one with the storming of the Bastille, the rise of Napoleon, the guillotine, and also the guillotine. On the off chance that you'd like to learn more about the guillotine, make sure to check out This Is Bears, who made a video on the topic. Anywho, France has actually had a couple of revolutions over the years. And by a couple, I mean like, way more than is healthy for you. Alright, now, you'll want to take one of these about every 3 centuries. Let's start with the big one, aka that French Revolution. The year is 1789 and the French people are sick and tired of their king. Taxes are crazy high due to France's habit of always being at war, and the French system of collecting taxes was atrocious, like a solid 10 out of 40. Basically, the system as it was can be summed up with a quote from my favorite French monarch, Xi Jinping. If you're poor, you'll pay more. Anyway, people were flipping out, so Louis XVI called an assembly of the Estates General. The Estates General was an assembly of all 3 classes in France: the clergy, nobility, commoners, and sometimes biology 101. They were given the simple task of figuring out how to make France's taxes suck a little less. Here's how it went down. You guys have all the money. Yep, we don't like that. Yeah? And what are you gonna do about it? Create your own constitution that guarantees rights to all people? Yeah, and where are you gonna do that? A tennis court? This newly proclaimed National Assembly quickly seized Paris and established a constitutional monarchy with Louis XVI as a figurehead. However, this arrangement didn't last, and after executing Louis XVI in 1793, control of France basically fell into the hand of Robespierre's Committee of Public Safety. Turns out the committee wasn't very safe, and after they chopped off like 40,000 heads, people in France were like, wow, that sure sucked. I wonder what other ineffective post-apocalyptic sounding government we could try next. Introducing the Directory. Breaking news! The Directory is super weak and ineffective. We should probably just let the military take over. And that they did. In 1799, Napoleon Bonaparte took over the government and did a bunch of stuff that I couldn't possibly cover in this video. Suffice it to say that France got wrecked and everybody in Europe forced them to have a king again. The year is 1830, and the French people are sick and tired of their king. After the relatively uneventful reign of Louis XVIII, Charles X had just taken power and decided that France needed to go back to the days of an absolute monarchy. Needless to say, the French had missed the hype train for this and responded by ousting Charles and replacing him with another king, Louis Philippe. I wonder what could possibly go wrong. The year is 1832, and the people of Paris are sick and tired of their king. Keyword, Paris. Most of France was still on board with the constitutional monarchy thing. Because support for the rebellion was unable to spread outside of a small part of Paris, French troops were able to crush the rebels. Everyone would have probably forgotten about the whole thing, except some artsy French dude named Victor Hugo wrote a book about it, and now we have this. Do you hear the people singing a song of angry... This is stupid. The year is 1848, and the people of France are sick and tired of their king. Some people were so chapped that they even started to flirt with communism, which just threw up a bunch of red flags. The people rose up in February of 1848 and kicked Philippe out of the country. A second republic was then set up under the rule of Napoleon's nephew, Louis, who had been elected with overwhelming support. This overwhelming support must have gotten to Louis's head though, because he did the exact same thing as his uncle and just took over the government, declaring a second French empire. In the Franco-Prussian War of 1870, France got body slammed, choked out, and curb stomped by Prussia, which upset the people. who kicked Louis out of power and declared a second republic. After the Prussians left though, a bunch of hipsters in Paris decided that now would be the perfect time to start a true communist society, so they revolted against the government that had just revolted. Wonder how that turned out. Well, maybe next time. Better dead than red! May of 1968 was kind of a rough month for the government. By this time, France was on its fifth republic because they had kept changing their minds about the constitution, so that was fun. But also, people were pretty angry with the government due to low wages, the war in Vietnam, capitalism, just like normal stuff that college students get upset about. These protests quickly turned violent, and pretty soon there were all-out street battles with the police, barricades on major roads, massive strikes, and just about everything in between. The president of France, Charles de Gaulle, was pretty stressed out about this, so he just straight up left the country for a few days. When he came back though, he organized new elections and everyone just kinda dropped their pitchforks and went home. That brings us to today. Which I'm not going to talk about because it's super political and still happening and I don't really want to get yelled at in the comments section. Also, make sure to check out This Is Barris's video on guillotines because, come on, everyone likes a little bit of public execution. Right? Connor? This isn't the outro song.
Jean, at last, we see each other plain.
Are you just singing so they can't take you down for copyright?
You wear a different chain.
Before you say another word, Javert,
Did
you just switch characters?